Welcome to Choose the Bear, a podcast for people living single and or child-free, or who are just curious about a life built on independence, intention, and joy. Because being single and child-free isn't a phase, it's a path. I'm your host, Kat Calvin. Let's get into it. Everyone get excited. I found her. I found the woman doing the thing we all need. Florence Wlodarski has started the social club that all us sinks and dinks are waiting for. It's called Parallel Social Club, and it is just for sinks and dinks. They do awesome events. It's so interesting. It is devastating to me that I am not in LA right now and I can't go to all of them, but stay tuned, listen up, because she's got plans for the rest of us. I am so excited because we talk so much about how important community is for single folks, particularly, and for child-free folks. And Florence has done it, and it's awesome. And I think that this is something that will inspire you. Maybe it'll inspire you to start your own sink and dink social club. And you definitely want to share this with anyone who lives in the LA area, because this is the future. I am thrilled. You will be thrilled. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. I'm excited. We are here with a little bit of a revolutionary and innovator in the sink dink space, someone who is doing a thing that we need and yet that I have not seen. And I've been all up in the internet streets trying to find all of the unique stuff happening in the sink dink world. And this is totally unique. So I am really, really excited to have a conversation with the wonderful and very stylish Florence Wlodarski, who is the founder of this awesome thing called the Parallel Social Club, which we are going to get into. But Florence, hi, thank you for being here.
Hi, Kat. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled to dive in. But before we start, just give everyone a little bit of an intro. Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah, who am I? Florence Wlodarski. I am a dog mom. I'm married, so that makes me a dinkwad. And I think it's always so silly, these terms, right? Dink and sink and dinkwad, sinkwad.
That's terrible. Like, I don't want to be a sinkwad. That sounds really nasty.
You have a dog too?
I do.
Yeah, I'm a proud dog mom. I'm in my 40s. I live in Los Angeles. Born in the U.S. I'm Korean American by heritage. My parents immigrated here from Korea. And I am a UCLA grad, USC for undergrad, or for USC for grad school. I got my master's in social work. And I charted a different territory after that. A lot of my friends became clinicians and therapists after getting their MSW. And I went corporate. I went, kind of macro practice, taking my degree into kind of non-traditional paths, saying, okay, I think, I've worked in the nonprofit world, I've worked in corporate America, but what else can I do with this degree and with this perspective, this lens of social impact and social work? And so I went into corporate social responsibility. And then about 10 years ago, I started my own company called Hetty Group, consulting, doing philanthropy consulting and stakeholder relations, community relations, and got to work with a lot of different types of organizations. I like variety. I'm one of those workaholics, hard charging. I don't like to sit still that type of person. And now post-COVID, a lot of things have changed. And I think a lot of people in your audience will also probably identify with this, that we all go through seasons in our life. And I went from hard charging career woman to now thinking about kind of what does it mean to actually relax? So this is as I'm talking to you today, I feel like I'm kind of a different version of Florence than I was even like 5 years ago, or what people have known me to be pre-COVID. now post-COVID, and a lot of things have happened since then, which I'm sure we'll get into throughout the rest of this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. I think we're all different people than we were in 2019. Like 2020 changed us all, changed society. And then yeah, the older we get, once we're in our 40s, you have a lot more perspective. I mean, I can't wait till I'm like 80 and I'm like, well, 40, I was just a baby, right?
I
But
know,
like
right?
every decade you get more perspective and you look back and you're like, God, I'm a different person than I was yesterday.
Yeah. That's a good thing, right?
It's a great thing. It's a great thing. But one of the things that I think we have as a society acknowledged is that COVID, I'm an introvert. Lockdown was the greatest time of my life. I miss
Oh.
lockdown so much. Every time someone coughs, I'm like, maybe we'll get locked down. I know it's never going to happen again, but God, that was great. And all weddings should be on Zoom. I will die on this hill. All weddings should be on Zoom. It's the only weddings I want to attend from now on. But we did obviously stop socializing, and we've been in this crisis for a while of the lack of free third spaces, um and people being more isolated because the traditional ways that people came together as community have evolved, and unfortunately mostly online. And one of the things that we talk about all of the time on this podcast is that if you are a sink or a dink or God forbid a sink wad or whatever things are, if you have a cat, I guess you're a sink whack. I don't like it. I don't like it in any things. But whatever you are, that building community and deep friendships are really important because, and particularly because so many of us do not live where our families live.
Yeah.
And so we all are veering more towards a Golden Girls type of lifestyle than, like a Brady Bunch. But post COVID, that has been harder than ever. And so that's why I was so floored when I came across the Parallel Social Club, because it feels like you have found a really interesting way to help people build that community. So talk about PSC and what it is and why you built
Yeah, so Parallel Social Club it's a social club. But it's more than that. It is a community. So we're building it to be a social home and a community for those with a very shared experience. And that experience is living life without kids. So walking somewhat of a non-traditional life path. Um, you know, for me and my husband, we, in this world of child-free, childless, some people, there are terminology purists that will say,
it.
well, is your club for those who chose not to have kids, child-free, or those who just happen to not have kids, and they wanted kids, childless, and we say, it's for everyone. For everyone who just happens to be living this lifestyle where you're not parenting and you're not living the lifestyle of going to little league practice and ballet classes for your child, then you've got a little bit more time, flexibility, and freedom in your life to invest in other things. And we decided to build a space for people who want to invest in their own personal growth, invest in their social health. They want to make meaningful connections with other people who are also living a similar lifestyle, right? Where do you find them? How do you bring them together? Those are the questions that we answer at Parallel Social Club. We bring them together. We do all of the heavy lifting to plan all the fun social experiences for people who want to level up their social lives and get out there and have more enriching experiences. And then we do the heavy lifting of bringing the people together that are living similar lifestyles in a similar life stage and who are geographically, there's proximity, right? And for those who are tired of Zoom, maybe of the digital experience and going on, social media or swiping on dating apps, perhaps they want to just meet people in person, get out there. We provide that opportunity. And so every month we organize about 5 to 7 different social
Oh,
experiences
wow.
events. Yeah, we're active because we say we want to provide options for people. Everyone's lives are really busy because everyone's doing their career thing. And so we say, whenever you can make it, come out, right? And meet people, have a lovely conversation, a deep conversation. We facilitate these experiences so that people can actually connect with each other. We don't just bring people together at an event and say, okay, you're on your own. Go and meet people. No, we understand that there are a lot of introverts, right? There are a lot of people who may not feel comfortable being in a room full of 30 people and working the room, right? So we design these events so that with little details to help kind of close the gap, the awkwardness gap, if you will, and to help people meet each other and connect. And then we also have an app, Kat. We have an app. We have an app. You know why? Because you go to an event and you see someone and you may not see that person for like another month or 2 months.
Yeah.
And so we provide that app experience where people can chat with each other and communicate and stay connected virtually as an additional layer to the IRL experience.
Yeah.
Because we know that, in order for people to build relationships over time, it's not only having, similar experiences or people that you can relate to, but it's frequency of interactions. And in our busy society, if we're unable to meet with or see that person more than once a month, well, at least we can keep in touch with them virtually. That's why, there's social media. There's something to be said about social media. It keeps people connected at least virtually, right? So we have that element, but our core crux, our magic sauce is our in-person IRL face-to-face events, because that's where the real genuine connections can happen and the magic can happen, and supported by the app experience.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you do so many events. You're right, the options. And being someone who has planned many events in LA, it's a true nightmare because so busy and no one has time. And I'm always like, there are 80 trillion people in this city. You can't all be busy on Wednesday night, but they all are. So I love that. I feel your pain deeply. But also, there have been studies that have shown that it takes like 200 hours in order to make a friend, things like that. So having those repeated opportunities. And I like even the safety component of we can chat through an app and maybe I don't want to give you my phone number. Like having all of those different elements, it's really well thought out. Can you talk what kind of events though do you have? Because you were just talking about this dinner that I'm really having FOMO. I really wish I had been. What are the events that you guys are doing?
Yeah. Every month we host several dinners as a part of our Find Your Five dinner series. And what we do is we bring together a maximum of 6 people. I am the 6th person as the facilitator for these dinner conversations. And we bring in 5 people max. And we do that because we found that is kind of like the magic number sweet spot to have one table conversation. So it's not 2 people at the end of the table having a sidebar. No, we want to have one table conversation. And we have a discussion theme. So we have a dinner discussion theme. Last night's dinner discussion theme was invisible influences, right? So how everyone came to the table with a story about who in their life has had some sort of influence on their life, that yet that person doesn't even know it. Right. And we talked about people from our childhood or people at work, or it might be someone that's been in our life for a very long time, or someone we had a chance encounter with at a coffee shop. Right. And whatever they said or did in that moment had an influence on our lives. And so we all went around the table and shared. And in that way, we're able to really get to know each other, able to connect, cut through the small talk. And so every dinner experience has a facilitated discussion topic so that we can actually really get to know the person. And when we're driving home, we can say, there's food for thought. There was thought-provoking conversation, right? That's our aim. we named this dinner series the Find Your Five dinner series because it was inspired by a motivational quote from Jim Rohn that said, "You are the average of or the sum of the five people you spend the most time with."
Yeah.
And
I
so
love that.
this idea of, you know what, people that you spend time with has an influence on you. So we wanted to have that concept be top of mind for people to say, hey, audit your five people, your 10 people that you surround yourself with. And if these dinners and these dinner conversations and the experiences you have at dinner in this intimate setting cause you to think more thoughtfully, be more thoughtful about who is in your social circle, then that means that we met our mission with our dinners. So that's one thing. Those are our small intimate events, but then we have our bigger events where we bring a lot of people together. We have a comedy show that we put on ourselves. We self-produce it. We bring various comics from all over Los Angeles together, and it's called the Missed Connections Tabling Kids show, where the comics explore and process these concepts of misconnections, single life, or life without kids, the unpredictability of life. Those are all the concepts that we're all gathering to laugh about at our comedy show. So we get about, 50 to 60 people at each show. And the idea is you can go to the Hollywood Improv and go see a show and sit in a room full of strangers.
Right.
Or you can come to our show and sit in a room full of friends of friends and familiar faces, people that are part of your social club, and laugh together. And we say comedy hits different when you're sitting there laughing with your friends.
Yeah.
Rather than a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
So we're going paddle boarding in Marina Del Rey, stand-up paddle boarding in the summer. We have picnics. We have beach parties. We are bringing us in lots of different guest speakers to talk about relevant topics for those who are doing the kid-free thing. And anywhere from finances to lifestyle to life purpose. There are so many topics that are very nuanced for those who are walking this a little bit untraditional life path. And so we bring in experts, advisors, and speakers to inspire our members and those in our community to live their best life. So those are the types of things that we're curating for those who are in LA right now.
I mean, I love it. And this is the kind of thing that you're blazing this trail that I think we are very much at the point where we need these types of things. We had these wonderful researchers I'm on who research child-free adults in America. I have found that it's about 35% of the adult population that's child-free, and that's they're choosing, that doesn't even include the childless population. And we see declining birth rates in the States and really in every country in the world.
Yes.
For which Mother Nature thanks us. But we obviously still live in a very pronatal society, and we don't have these types of social groups. And yet we're at a point where the numbers are showing that we really need to start orienting society for people who do not have children. And so when I saw Parallel Social Club and what I hear now, you just talking about like all of the things you do and etc. All I can think is like, we need things everywhere. And particularly because it's so hard. Like, dating is on the apps, and everything's digital. Everyone's just watching TikTok. And this is something that I feel when we look at like, okay, how are we recreating society for countries that are becoming more and more child-free? And really, it's wildly skewed as well because the vast majority of those people are from two generations, right? So it may be 35% of all American adults, but it's really a huge percentage of Gen Z and millennials. Yes. Right. And so, so that is, this is the type of thing we need to see more of.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about, because I know one thing that people always ask me as a person who started and runs a nonprofit is like, how did you get this started? But like, really, when you were deciding you wanted to build this out, what were some of the nuts and bolts of how you built this from of idea in your head to this very successful, thriving social group? Because I feel that's the thing that I see people struggling with is wherever they are around the country or the world,
Yeah.
wanting to build these communities and not knowing how, and you've succeeded in that. So how did you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. Every idea, everything starts from an idea. And I would say the idea was rolling around in my head for probably a good year.
Mhm.
And at some point, I had to write it down on paper. I was on a plane and going somewhere, and I spent that time jotting everything down, doing a brain dump of ideas. And I filled up 3 pages, as saying, okay, this is what it would look like. This is the value proposition. These are the pain points that we're trying to solve for. How do we do this? But those were just all concepts still, right? And then it took me months later to act on it. So sometimes it takes a little while. And our story is it took a little while. And then we started a meetup group to experiment and say, you know what? I could think of that this is important in my own head, but we need to know if there's a demand out there. We need to know if other people would want, if we build it, will people come? I don't know. Right. So we started a meetup group and just to see, and there were within several months, just a few months, 300 people who signed up, and we had
Oh,
a
wow.
very mini application process. And people were saying, yeah, I'm child free. I don't have kids. I love this concept.
Mhm.
And then we realized that, um, yes, in terms of events, if you live in a big city like Los Angeles, if you wanted to go to an event every day of the week, you can.
Good, yeah.
You have a ton of options. If you just wanted to be social, you can just go to a bar. I mean, there's so many options here. You can go on Eventbrite, on meetup.com, and find a ton. However, what we were aiming to do was to build a community. Now that's different
Yes.
than just dropping into an event, right? So we're not we're not an event planning company. We're building a community, and we decided to make it a membership community because when people are a member of a club, a member of something, they've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
Right. So we thought through a lot of different things when we were building Parallel Social Club, and it evolved over time. And we only launched March 1st, 2025, officially. We
Oh,
did have a
yeah.
soft launch November in 2024, where we started taking applications. We vet every member who applies to ensure that there's values alignment, that we're bringing in positive people who are warm, who are wanting to meet other people, people who are willing to commit the time and show up, right?
Yeah.
So, it I would say the process of building was definitely trial and error, and a lot of listening to a small cohort of 10 people that said, I'm totally interested. And then listening to them, experimenting with different types of events in different sides geographically of Los Angeles. And then surveying people, a lot of time on the phone talking to different people. And then we slowly iterated over time. And now we have an email list of 350 people who signed up. And it's been, let's see, about a month since we launched, and we have 53 official members.
Oh,
And it's a good sized community where we can really get to know each other. Now, if we hope to grow to 100 people in Los Angeles, where people can say, this is my group, this is my social home. And then we hope to expand this summer. We hope to expand and start a mini chapter in San Diego. Anybody here listening?
yay.
From San Diego. And in the summer, we're planning to do a pop-up experience, pop-up parallel experience in New York City. So if anyone listening is in New York City, hope to, connect with you, and so that we can meet you out there. But the grander vision, Kat, is for us to be able to expand and have chapters in multiple cities across the country and across the world. We have people on our email list from different cities, New Zealand, different parts of the world, Toronto, New Zealand, who have reached out saying, "There's nothing like this in my city. Are y'all coming over here?" Or saying, "Well, let's stay connected. And then as we grow, we can do pop-up experiences in other cities, or we can start a chapter if there's someone passionate about building a social network and community in that particular city. Let's talk." Right? I'm in Los Angeles. I can champion this here, but we need other people who are passionate all across in other cities to work with us to expand this network so that, Kat, when you and I are 70 years old and we want to travel to Italy, Singapore, wherever, right? We know that we can connect with someone out there who's part of the parallel network, who gets it, who knows our lifestyle, who's a part of this warm social network, this community. So that's right.
Love the vision. Also, I know quite a few sinks and dinks in San Diego and especially New York. So let me know
Oh,
when you are launching. I will send them all to you.
yeah.
I have heard from you that there may also be a virtual option coming soon.
Yes, we are thinking about that idea because although we are an in real life community, and there are a lot of online communities out there. There are a lot of Facebook groups, etc. But sometimes Facebook groups can still be a little bit impersonal, and these Facebook groups are like 30,000 deep. And sometimes there could be some trolling and negativity, etc., which we are definitely not about. And there's a place for everybody out there, for every voice, for every purpose. There's sometimes people just need a place to vent, and there are places out there in internet land for that.
Yeah.
For us, our idea of launching a virtual space is for us to come together via Zoom so that no one is anonymous. People are still able to connect if they don't have an IRL chapter in their city of Parallel. At the very least, we can connect virtually and meet once a month via Zoom, and we can do a Finder Five experience, with a discussion theme, etc., to get to know each other virtually once a month. And so that virtual membership tier will launch soon. There's no ETA, but see, we're working on it.
Well, I love it. I think that. I mean, again, is just another great way to connect. And for folks, I was in LA forever, and now I'm in a very, very small, very rural town full of mostly retired veterans, like close to the border in Arizona. And so all of my socializing with people my age is either that I travel a lot or online or just texting my friends constantly.
Yeah.
And so like I love this idea of having, this cool curated experience that those of us who are not currently in a very large city could connect with as well. So I'm excited because eventually you will achieve world domination and there will be a PSC everywhere. But until then, people who are outside of LA are looking for ways to connect and build community. So what's your advice as an expert in this space for someone who is a sinker and dink and is trying to build community in wherever they live?
Yep. I would say number one, kind of in a conceptual way, like put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And even if you have 1-2 bad experiences, you have to continue to put yourself out there. Now, where do you put yourself out there too? There are different groups out there, right? There may not be a community for dinks and sinks in your city. However, there are meetup groups, meetup events, Eventbrite, those types of platforms have different groups available. Even in Los Angeles, we have Childfree Los Angeles. We have a lot of different groups available here. Now, that all, though, takes effort. Right? It takes effort to go online and do the research, to sign up for something, and then get the guts and the courage to show up to something alone. I'm an extrovert, and when I moved to New York City by myself and I knew no one, and I had to walk into let's say a Chamber of Commerce mixer to network, even an extrovert like me, I had to take a big, deep breath and say, before I walked upstairs to mingle with people I didn't know, but I had to put myself out there. And then I had a wonderful New York story because I did. And I would encourage everyone, introvert or extrovert, to put in the effort to research online, find the groups that are in your city that you might not have a Dink or Sink group, but within kind of mass market groups, you'll be able to find people that you can relate to. But it's going to take effort. Now, if it's just about just clicking on your couch and, and trying to be part of it, or follow someone on Instagram, that's not really community. You're not going to be investing in your social health by following 20 Dink and Sink accounts on Instagram or TikTok, right? That's just passive consumption of content. So I want to encourage people to really get out of your comfort zone and put yourself out there and do it for your future self and for your future and current social health. Because if you don't, no one else is going to do that for you, right? So unless you do it, it's not going to happen. And then at some point, and reach out to us. And if you're in a city and you're like, I don't know where to start, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to send resources and help anyone that is in a different city connect with different people, because we are building our network. So Who knows? I may know someone in Minneapolis.
That's amazing. And of course, all of the info, your Insta and the show notes and everything for folks listening, the links will have the show note, or no, other way around. The show notes will have all the links for you. I thank you, Florence. Thank you for coming on. And thank you for starting this. I do really feel sometimes you see something, you're like, oh, that's the thing we need. And having spoken over the months of doing this podcast, just so many, both child-free just people, but also experts and researchers and et cetera, as a type of community space is a thing that we are missing and desperately need. So I'm really, really thrilled that you are doing it. And thank you for coming on the podcast and telling us all about it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And we hope that people will connect with each other and be able to build a world that is much more connected, and because it will lead to a more fulfilling life. That's what we say. So
Exactly. Thanks for listening to Choose the Bear. The best way to support this podcast is to leave a review and share it with someone who might love it too. It really helps. See you next time. Mm-hmm.